off. Shush nugget. It's a brand new year. 2020 is out the door and gone, and you're excited to get your garden going. Last year you had a problem with transplants, so this year you're gonna plant seeds early. Well, I'm gonna plant a seed in your mind on how to get these seeds started, including my seed mix, and get them growing ready for your spring garden. All right, let's go. First thing we're going to talk about is the materials that we use in this. You're going to have compost. Also, we're going to need some perlite, and we're going to need some peat moss. Now, in peat moss, this is not actually peat moss. I got kind of caught off guard. So I'm using a seed starting mix, which is way too light. It was almost all peat moss. We're also going to need seeds at the end. So that's pretty much the materials. Now, for the tools we need, we're going to need a fine sieve, a measuring container of some sort. I'm using this because I don't really need a whole lot more than that. We need a large colander for screening as well. You can use whatever you want. We're also going to need pots. So these are like 3.5 inch, 4 inch. These are the 1.5 inch 6-packs. And these are for labeling, got to do that, and a water tray. Now we also are going to need a large container and some water in the end. Okay, so first things first. We need to make sure that we're doing a 3-part mix. That's going to be 3 parts of compost to 3 parts of peat moss to 3 parts of perlite. That's it, it's that simple. There's a couple things that we have to do to make it just right though. Compost tends to be a little bit thick, it's got some bigger pieces in it, and we want to screen that out. So, to screen that out, we're going to use our sieve. Now this is really simple. I'm just going to go over the bucket here, and we're just going to pour it in. Now that's 1, okay? That's 1. We're going to do 2 more for this. Actually, we're going to do 3 more for this so I can have a little bit extra. We have this colander full of compost. We just want to shake it out. The reason we're doing this is we want to get as many big chunks out of this as possible. Now, another alternative to the colander, the big sieve basically, is you can use some hardware cloth, and it goes really quickly too. So I thought I'd show you some different alternatives. So now we're done. And what we have left is this really beautiful, fine compost. So now we're going to add the peat moss. We have our fine compost in here, and we're going to sieve this too using the wire mesh this time. I had 4 of these in here. I actually added another about half, 3/4 because we needed more compost because there was a lot of material that came out of it. So we're going to go 4.5 on this. So the point of the peat moss is to add a little bit more water retention. We're going to do the same thing here. We're just going to push it all down, break it all down. Okay, that's pretty much it. So that's done. So next up is perlite. Perlite basically is just an expanded rock. They expand it with heat, and it's very light and fluffy. It kind of looks like, I don't know, like styrofoam. But they kind of pop it like popcorn, and it's good. It lets water through it, lets air through it, keeps the soil aerated, and lets the water drain out. So it's a very important part of this. Again, this is the 3rd part, and we're going to do 3 even parts, so 33% of each. We've already done the compost, now we've done the peat moss, and now we're going to do the perlite. Don't breathe that dust. It's not good for you. Now that it's all together, all we have to do is start mixing it. Now you can mix this with your hands. You can use a pitchfork if you're making a bunch of it. I'm not going to use that. I'm just going to use my hands and mix all this together until it's perfectly mixed. Make sure to scrape off the bottom good. Don't breathe the perlite. Make sure you get way down to the bottom. Now we got to do just one more thing, and that's add water. Now the idea is not to saturate this, it's just get it damp. It makes it easier when we pot things up, so we don't have to worry about soaking it all the way through. So we're just gonna get in here and mix this again. All right, now that we got our mix, we need pots. Now there's several different things that you can do with these, or several different ones you can use. I like to use these 4 inch, they call them 4 inch, they're really 3.5 or a little more. And these 1x1s are 1.5 by 1.5, so 6-packs. And then I also like to use these watering trays. The reason why I like to use the watering trays is because you can water from the bottom. By pre-moistening this mix, when we water from the bottom, it'll wick up, it'll keep everything nice and moist, just the way it should be while the seeds are starting. These are all new, I haven't used these yet. If you have used them or you have used pots, make sure and sterilize your pots. The easiest way to do it is to take just like a hand sprayer and spray them with vinegar, let them sit for 10-20 minutes and then rinse them off. So we need that and we need these. Let's go ahead and fill some pots. So we just want to scoop it up. We want to kind of pack it down a little bit, not real tight. We want to get it just at or below the surface. Now, it was important to note that on these small ones, if you look, I have an indention pressed into it. Now, the reason I have that indention pressed into it is because we talked about that fine sieve, right? This is the reason why. The plants that are going in those smaller packs tend to be under, you see, 1/8 inch of a soil. Sometimes you can see 1/32 of an inch of soil. How do you measure 1/8 of an inch of soil? Well, I'll tell you how. You do it with this thing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our compost and we're gonna pour it into this sieve, and it's gonna be a very, very fine bit of soil we can put on top of things. And this is very fine soil. You don't need much, a couple of handfuls, okay? And it's just gonna go on top. Now, for most of these plants, we have a certain depth to go to, so I'll give you an example. The tomatoes, they're usually about 1/4 inch. Now, you can use a dibber. You just dib in 1/4 inch, you place your seed, and you cover them up. Now, the smaller seed packets, these are the ones we talked about before when we made the small indention. These things are like 1/8 of an inch cover, for instance, like lettuces and stuff. So what you would do is you would simply sprinkle around, and then we're just gonna take a really fine sieve soil, and we're gonna sprinkle it on top. That's it. You can see we already got everything labeled. It's all nice and ready to go. All I have to do now is water these things in, and we'll get them into our grow light area. We need to make sure we fill the trays with water and do one other thing. So first of all, we're gonna fill the bottom of the trays with water. The next thing we're gonna do is we're going to do an actual foil tent. Nice and tight so it doesn't come off. It keeps the moisture in, and it's gonna help keep some of the heat in too. Okay, final step, guys. We've got our casserole seedlings. We're all full of water. And I have a heat mat here. You can see the temperature gauge here. I have this set at 75. These are my homemade grow lights. If you want to learn more about these, I'll put a link down in the description and something up top to the video we've already done on how to make these really, really cheap grow lights. And also, we'll talk about this stand too in that video. So, all I'm gonna do is place these on this heat mat. Because we've put the foil on top of these plants, it's gonna conserve some heat. We don't need to do that for more than a few days. Once the seedlings come up, once they sprout, we'll be ready to remove them and lower the lights. And this last one is not actually on the heat pad, and that is because these are cooler plants. Do not foil these with the tent covering that we have on it if you're doing this outside. They will absolutely bake. If you want to fry your seeds, it's easier to put them in oil and do it in a frying pan. All right, guys. It's really simple and easy. Keep this at 75 degrees. The mat underneath is gonna heat the water inside, get it up to about 70, and when it kicks off, it'll just turn itself off. These lights will help get it there. In fact, I might set this down to 70. Okay, we're there. 59 degrees, this thing will start warming up. This is it. Remember, don't put these on if you're doing this outside. If you are doing this outside, use a clear plastic dome. They sell them for a lot of these trays. It'll work a lot better for you. You won't fry your plants. That's it, guys. It's that simple. You can make your own seed starting mix. This is the way I do it. I love it. It's nice and easy, and it gets the job done. Guys, if you like this video, make sure and give it a thumbs up. And don't forget, share the video. If there's somebody you know that wants to start seeds this year, maybe it's their first time ever growing a garden and they want to get started earlier, maybe they've been doing it for years, but they never really started seeds, especially indoors. This might be really helpful to them. It really helps me out if you share that. Guys, I want to leave you the same way I always do. There's only 4 things in life that you really need for a well-balanced life. Number 1 is somebody to love. Number 2 is something to believe in. Number 3 is something to do. And number 4 is something to look forward to. I look forward to gardening. I look forward to you guys, and I can't wait to see you in the next video. All right, Doc out.